Welcome to the Solo CEOs, the podcast for solopreneurs by solopreneurs. Here we celebrate, commiserate, and problem solve all the world's craziness that comes with building a business on your own terms.
I'm Marilyn Johnson, a supplier development and supplier diversity consultant. And
I'm Tara Winston, executive coach and leadership consultant. And we are the Solo CEOs.
Yay!
Hello, everyone. Welcome back. This is Tara Winston and
this is Marilyn. Hey, everybody. Tara, I am so happy today. I think I say that all the time, but it's the truth.
You really are very happy. Yes, welcome back to Soul CEOs. As you can see, Marilyn is bursting at the seams, girl. 2024 is clearly going to be a year for you because you can't hold yourself in. What is going on with you?
I cannot. Anytime I can do a podcast and be comfortable and have my hoodie, see y'all, I got the contrast and strings. Hey,
wait. Note for the podcast listeners, Marilyn is looking quite in her athleisure chic with her hoodie, her black hoodie and her white strings. You know, a podcast is an audio medium. And
I have on red lipstick too to match it. All right, Terry, people are just sick of us giggling. Talk to us about what we're going to tell the people today.
Okay, so, y'all, I was minding my business.
No, she wasn't.
And I get this message from Marilyn. She's like, we have got to talk about resetting.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
So coming into the year, and then Wayman had the nerve to wag her little finger at me talking about, and you need to do this yourself. So Miss Marilyn, what is resetting for 2024?
So first things first, let's talk about it. All capitals, STOP, stop right now. Stop everything you're doing because I have a sneaking feeling that you are doing something in 2024 that you were doing in 2023 that did not work. Can I hear from the people in the back?
Oh, that's an amen on like why you got to tell my business to everybody? Okay.
Right. So, Tara, every year we do what did we learn? And then we try and think through, well, what are we going to do? What I feel is happening, and this is why I waved my finger at Miss Tara community, is because you run out into the new year with all these goals, hopes, aspirations, and then you're moving so quickly that you start moving in what would feel familiar.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes the things that feel familiar are not things that are successful for what you want to do, not what you can do. It's a lot of stuff you can do, but the stuff that you want to do that you do well. And so my message to Tara and my message to you is I want you to stop and look at what you've done. You are now 30 days in to the year. What are you doing right now that you probably should have stopped doing at the end of last year?
Well, that is a word, right? And so I will, to fill in some color on you calling me out, because I think this is not uncommon for those of us for the entrepreneurs in the place. I ended up having a big deliverable, a big deadline that was due early in the year. So it was due the second week of January.
Oh, you will tell the truth.
I'm telling the truth. Right? I mean, that's what we do over here, right?
Because that's what we do.
That's what we do.
Everybody take notes. Take notes, not for what Tara is doing, but as she's talking to you, I want you to take notes on what you are doing.
Absolutely. And so, all the big ideas about how I was going to spend more time and be more in strategy, all that went out the door as me and my team were actually pretty busy over what was going to be the holiday break, trying to get ready for this big deliverable, right? And so we came sliding into 2024, with our pants on fire, just like, what? Running like crazy people trying to get this thing done, which again, like, is not necessarily a bad thing, but to Marilyn's point, it was easy for me, and I am not unique. I'm not a special snowflake as much as I would love to be, it's very easy to get back into the old patterns. And so when I put on my coaching hat, this thing that is very true, when we are under stress, and not even high stress, when we are under stress, we just actually have less space for new behaviors. New behaviors, even when they're good, they require you to think a second time, to pause. Like you have to rearrange all the stuff you used to do around these new behaviors. And when we get busy, we tend not to do that. And that's exactly what happened. And so, to Marilyn's point, like now, like wherever you are at this 31 day mark, to be able to stop and say, okay, what has stopped me from putting in the things that I want to change, the things that I've dragged in for 2023 that no longer serve me, and how can I not do those? And so, Marilyn, I'm curious for you, when you look at some of the things, the bad habits or things that you want to change coming into the year, what has made it more difficult to stick to your designs for change?
My big thing is always leaning hard on what I'm doing for clients, what I'm doing for outreach. And so when so much of what I'm doing is kind of led by others, then it's hard for me to stick to that. All right, you know what? In 2023, I said I was going to be better at doing this for customers. And then when the customers are not reacting and responding, then I go back to, well, Dad, well, I'll just do that. It's like, well, actually, girl, that wasn't working last time. So trying to keep to that plan, because I personally do not believe in setting resolutions, because I feel like I should be trying to be my best whoever I am every single day. The reality is that business don't work like that. Business, especially when I am in the world of business to business. So my customers, I go to corporations to do my work, and they are usually on some type of annual planning. And it may be calendar, or however, it may be June to June or whatever. They don't operate the same way that us solopreneurs operate. And so making sure that I keep those things in the front of my head, as opposed to, well, this is how I want to do it because this is what works for me, doesn't work, because it doesn't work for them. So just trying to stay in the lane of customer first, look at what my customer's doing, where their planning cycle is, and then all the things that I said I needed to do in 2024, making sure that aligns with their planning cycle. But that's different for every single customer. So managing that, making sure it's like herding cats. So kind of pull my arms around and say, well, this customer's planning cycle is at this point, and this one is at that point. And then trying to figure out, okay, you know what? There are tools that I need to use better to make sure that I am being as efficient as possible, because, hey, we run a solo ship, and a lot of times, Tara, we do talk about, we have a team. It's not, y'all, let me be clear. It's not like what you think. Like, we got a team of folks in the back office doing the work, as much as we got a team of people that's trying to keep us sane to do the work. And just making sure that I'm as efficient as I can be by utilizing tools. And there are things that I will find and send them to Tara, because I haven't seen them. Like, have you heard about this? That leans into your community. And I can't say enough about, you aren't in this fight alone as you develop and go. You have to build the community. What you deliver, you are, probably because you're a solopreneur. But just being in a room where you can just bounce this off and say, hey, have you heard this? Because then that helps me be more efficient. And since I need to be more efficient to move into a better year for me, then I'll do it. That's a long answer. Hopefully I answered it.
But yeah, it's a long answer, it was a good answer. And I think what I love about being able to have this podcast conversation, so the thing that you're working on is trying to better adapt to the flow of customers. My old habit that I'm shaking is almost the polar opposite. I'm always so adaptive to customers that I need to create more space for me to rest and to breathe and self-care, since as a solopreneur, as a person doing the work, I am the product, right? And also finding the space to work on my business, and not just in the business, right? So the space of a strategy for dreaming, for creation, and all that kind of stuff. And that means me working my time differently, maybe not being as responsive as I had been in the past to the timing of all my various different customers. So, I tend to have a lot more people customers that I'm bending to than Marilyn does. And just in the way our contracts work. And so, like, holding more space for myself. So it's okay if whatever the thing you're working on, it's going to be unique to your business. So like mine and Marilyn could be totally different, and yet we fall to the same challenges of, if you're not intentional about it, if you're not putting the structures, like Marilyn, you talked about tools, right? So like, what tools can I need? And that's because none of this shit works if it's just hopes and dreams and what you fin to do. I'm fixing to, right? Oh,
I need to
this year. I'm a right. Like, we're too busy. There's too much going on, and there's, quite frankly, too much stress to not have some type of structures and support to help you adapt to the new thing. So it could be tools. For me, it's, like my support, when I say my team, like I've got a virtual assistant, and we talk about what days I can't take meetings on, or what times I can't do meetings. Like, reconfigure so I have a structured way, because everybody knows that Tara's gonna say yes. Like,
and
before
she
I even
does
think
it.
about it.
And then before she thinks about it, and then I'm saying, well, when are we going to schedule this, or when are we going to schedule that? I want to put a pin on something though, really quickly, something that's very, very tactical. When you talked about you've had a virtual assistant is a wonderful thing. But Tara, you had to work into being able to afford a virtual assistant. And
Yes.
so for some of our folks out there that don't have the budget for a virtual assistant, y'all do know there are tools tools online, tools in Microsoft, where if you don't have a virtual assistant, but you need some reminders, use those tools, figure out what they are, and start using them, because that might be the one thing that makes the difference, that transitions you from what you used to do last year into what you should be doing this year. So that's the number one thing.
Why not? And I mean, building on that, I would say, and use the tools that you have. Like, you can acquire new tools, but like, let's be real. There's a new tool for everything. But like, if my friends, if you have Gmail, are you using your Gmail to the biggest extent, the functionality that it has to help you better see the things that you do, or schedule, or get some of the nonsense out of your inbox, whatever that thing is? What can you do to help you create structures to make it easier to do these things? Right.
Tara, you laugh at me too. Another one of my favorite tools, y'all.
Oh God.
Is a Post-it.
Y'all don't even understand. Like, girl, you should be sponsored by 3M, the way that NASCAR drivers have logos on their jacket. On the back of your hoodie, do you have a big old 3M?
I have Post-its of all sizes. But let me tell you all, where sometimes you get inspiration in different areas. And so I have found that what works most for me, I'm a list kind of girl. I need to write stuff down. And I volunteered with this one guy, and he is all about the Kanban boards. And I was volunteering with high school students, and he started talking about the importance of using Post-its and having it line up, and you just kind of move the Post-it based off of your progress. You all have no idea. The minute I stopped using the Post-it, I just can't remember what I'm supposed to do. So when we talk tools, it's not always something electronic and online. It's a pencil or ink pen, a Post-it, a piece of paper, I also like going and getting those to-do lists, but I end up with like a whole bunch of them around. But if you could see my wall, which I'm not going to show you, you'll see that I have multicolored post-its because the color represents certain things. Like a certain color is for my business. But here's the thing, because our life is intertwined, on that same wall, I'll have one color for business, one color for personal, one color for other activities. And it's all together because everything we do in a day at times is all together. And I can see, like right now, I look over, I'm like, what I need to do, what has been done, what's in queue. Right away, I can see it. So
I love
that's a
it.
tool.
Right. So for anyone, so this is, Marilyn challenged you to think about what is something that you brought with you from last year that you could do better getting rid of, right? What may need to change. So I want you to think about that, and then think about what kind of structure can help you stay on track with that. So for Marilyn, we know that if we integrate it into her post-it wall of shame.
My Kanban board. And let me, for anybody listening who's never used one,
Kanban, real quick. Yes, thank you.
Kanban. So just Google Kanban board, and you'll see that there's a whole bunch of examples that you can see, so that if it feels right, if you're a person who needs to see things like right in front of you, that's the easiest, cheapest way to do it.
Well, and FYI for all my digital family out there, if you like the Kanban version of it, whether you use a tool like Asana, I think Monday has the functionality. ClickUp also has the functionality. A lot of the project management tools that you can use have usually a view that is a digital Kanban if you're not a posted on the wall kind of person. So know that you've got access to those tools, whether it's your list. For those who aren't using kind of physical tools like that, having an accountability partner, right? So having someone like Marilyn in your life, like
the community,
helping them understand kind of what you're trying to change. And so there's someone that, as you're talking about things, can say like, oh, you remember how you had said, or you're not showing up the way you wanted to, what's going on. So that's so outside of tools, having an accountability partner, it may be doing some journaling to get a sense for what's making it hard. It could really just be new policies and processes in your business. For example, you may need to change your cancellation policy if you're someone that meets with people like a coach or whatever it is. And so look at all the structures around you that support you, that can help bring that into life rather than just trying to be different. So
right. Something else I want to lean in on is, since we're so early into 2024, I know we have some unfinished business that we need to just tie up from 2023. Try and do that as quickly as possible, because you don't want that hanging out there. All of the business that you've had that is complete, or projects or promises that you've made that need to be done with at the end of 2023, don't keep carrying them forward. Don't kick the can down the road. Stop it, tie it up so you can move forward.
Ooh, okay, let's talk about unfinished, right? So I heard you say stop it, tie it up, end it. And I think that there is some amount of that in people's mind, they go, I just need to rush and complete this thing. But there may be some things that you just have to stop. Like, you need to wave the flag and say, it's not going to happen. You might have to eat some crow, make some apologies, maybe, God forbid, return some cash. Like unfinished business is I need to get things to the end. But oftentimes, like when there are things that are holding over and have that mental and emotional weight, it's an ending that needs to happen, and not a completion. Right. And again, ending of a relationship or whatever it is, and beyond just you carrying the to-do of this open item on your list, there's usually a lot more emotional weight that comes with whatever has made it so hard to end it.
Yeah. And I don't think for some people it ever leaves the back of your brain. So you have a part of what you could be using already taken up. That space is taken up because you're saying, I should have, I need to, I could have. Let's start fresh. Let's start fresh. So again, we're almost out of January. Actually, when you
Well,
hear this, we
when you
will
hear
be out
this,
of
you're gonna be in
January.
February when you hear this.
You don't want to keep moving it forward if you don't have to, if it's not something, especially if it's something that's in your control. Some stuff is not 100% in your control, but there are things that you can do to try and move things along faster. And if that includes being a pain in somebody's butt to get it done, because maybe you have obstacles, then that's what you might have to do.
So Marilyn, it
Mhm.
it raises a good question for me that we probably should talk about. Because you talked about the emotional load of
Mhm.
carrying this.
You
And
all know the coach was going to go in the direction of emotions, so get ready. Yes, ma'am.
the mental fatigue, whatever, man.
Mm,
Look, you have a heart. I'm showing, letting everybody know you have emotions too.
yes,
Um,
right.
but no, so one of the things that I struggle with a lot is the constant list of to-dos, right? There's a running tab in my brain of things that should be done, could be done, might need to be done. Like, and it's not just the holdovers that, from things that should have long been passed, but there's like I the overwhelm that I sometimes feel as an entrepreneur. um it feels different than the constant when I was an executive in
Mm,
corporate. And I think the difference is there's always a list of potential things you could do too as an entrepreneur, right? So, oftentimes, like when I had my big desk and working for somebody else, there were other things I could do, of course, right? But they didn't feel as critical to now that I'm doing work that's aligned with my mission and ideally could make me even more money, right? I feel this weight of this constant, like, I should be doing, why am I not doing, what's going on, I didn't do, right? How do you balance that? You've been in this game a lot longer than I have.
how do I balance it is
How do you deal with it? It's probably a good question.
so the way I deal with some of it is I just really try and just solve whatever the challenge is. And because I'm a visual person, I start writing. Y'all, I'm telling you, if you see my little post-it board, I put pen to post it and write it down because if it's in my head, I got to get it out.
Now,
And then if I
y'all,
see
she
it,
she is telling you the truth. I have seen this woman, like, when she has too much in her head, it
it's
looks
not
like
good.
it looks like a meme. You know how you see like the TV, the computer be scrolling, like you can see her face is scrolling.
Like, wait a minute,
It's
wait a
too
minute.
much going on in her
Right.
head.
And I think part of it too is a lot of the things, although every day you all bring your brilliance to the table. If you're not bringing your brilliance to the table, start doing it. But every day we're bringing our brilliance to the table, and we have to be real clear on making sure that not many things block it. And so, however you can make that happen, because I can tell you how things work for me. I write them out, I talk them through, and then I act on it. My method may not be your method.
Yeah.
That's just a method. And I've been in the game for a minute, but it has always been the same. I write it out, I talk it out, because what happens is we go to sleep with this in our heads. And you really just, for me, I don't sleep well. And so then I wake up and I'm like, all right, I need to talk to somebody,
Yeah.
or I need to write out what I'm thinking. And so, Tara, when you talked about journaling, I want you to give a lot more detail about journaling because I'm not a big journaler and you are. I like to say I'm the bullet point person and you're the paragraph person. And so because it's totally two total ways of handling things that are out there and you're trying to clear them up. How do you do it, especially with whatever method that you use?
Mhm. Yeah, because I am not a list person.
Mhm.
Um, I may make if I make a list, I'm gonna lose that list. Like I'll get it out of my head and then it's gone somewhere, and then I'll remake the same list all over again. So lists by themselves don't give me the relief. So as a I am not one of those perfect journalers. Like there's some people I have some friends that they've got like tomes of their lives or their inner dialogues and they write every day. Y'all, I ain't got that kind of discipline. Come on, I don't have that kind of time. Did y'all know I could be on TikTok scrolling rather than writing
Yes, right.
journal?
But and
Journals?
discipline is key for that a lot of times. Just
Yeah,
patience
like
and discipline.
but so for me, the way I use my journal is I mean, think very similar with you, where you talk it out with people. I tend to write concepts, and so like I'll write concepts. Like usually the things that are running in my mind are I more so ideas than to dos. Usually, like sometimes the to dos are overwhelming to me, and just listing them is enough. But sometimes it's just getting the whole concepts out. So my journals are full of like partial ideas or maybe courses I could put together, things that connect together, where I want the business to grow, the kind of bigger pieces, and then all the other details fall from those things.
Mhm.
um and then there's a like what to bring from there into my to-do list, into what needs to be done, is how I manage the stress, because otherwise it feels too big. Like so I actually tried one of those time management methods where they say like take everything out of your head and lay it all into a list, and slot things for today, tomorrow, later. And I thought I was gonna have an aneurysm.
Mhm.
The sheer amount of things, particularly in the possible category, um, just made me feel guilty for what I wasn't doing.
Really?
It made me feel less efficient, because I could never get to the bottom of the what I'm doing right now. I could never get it clear enough to get to the other things. And I felt like that all this missed opportunity, and I would blame myself. And I had to say, if I was more efficient or more effective, if I was more like Marilyn or some other person, that I would work faster, right? I would get another tool. And so it ended up being more damaging to my stress level. And
How
so,
did you get out of that?
I'll let you know when I fully get out of the guilt factor. Ooh, tune in next time. I think part of it was for me, having this place where I can journal the ideas, like the like, because the work that we do as solopreneurs is so close to our hearts, right? What is it I want to put out in the world? I end up with a lot of like, oh, I could do this, I could do this, I could do
Mhm.
this. And so getting it a place where I can put it out and then go back to it and say, like, I could, but is that my best work? Is that how, like, what stress would that add to my business? And so then I can selectively bring back the pieces
Mhm.
and add that to the real list of things I can to do. And oh, by the way, my to-do list never gets all the way to done either.
Oh,
But it's a much smaller amount of things than what flows in my mind. And so having back when I was still working at PepsiCo, my boss and I, one of the best bosses I ever had, we had like a blue sky board, like all the stuff that you're like, you know what, if we had time, like we could do this. I
mhm.
just needed a place for it to land. And then that way it was less of an indictment. And I know it's completely kind of mental accounting.
Mhm.
But that's still how I deal with it. And much to you, very similar to you, that then there's a step of me talking it out. Like, so I can talk to Marilyn and I'm thinking about these things, and she'll go, you work too hard. You ain't got to do it that way.
It ain't that
It
hard,
ain't
right?
that difficult,
Yeah.
right? And so that then helps me right size what I'm going to then choose to take on as
Mhm.
work. So
Mhm.
that I think that line between what is possibility and what is work is a very a real distinction for me. Otherwise, I'll spin in circles.
Well, we don't want you spinning in those circles.
Ooh, yeah, I'm saying for the reset, that was not on the list.
Not for the reset. And so, y'all, at the same time, I wanted you to push the reset button, bloop, and reset. That was the button sound.
That was a button.
That was the button sound, right? But just reset right now, because I'm sure at some point you were moving and moving and moving, probably doing stuff you weren't intending on doing. But it's okay to reset. See, that's the good thing about working for yourself. You just reset and then take a step back, take a breath, make sure what you're doing in 2024 is the right thing. And all that stuff that wasn't working for you in 2023, first acknowledge what it is. And then once you've acknowledged it, then start figuring out, how can you not do it? How can you not do it?
Oh, we probably in a future podcast need to talk a little bit more about that, because I have a sinking suspicion there's a bunch of people that think that there are things that they can't not do.
Interesting. So that, you know what, I'm gonna write that down.
And so we're gonna have a good conversation about that. So for today, we just want you to think about push the button on reset, and then wherever you find yourself saying I can't, we're gonna talk about that later.
Right.
But in the meantime, y'all, thank you for spending time with us. We're pressing, while we're pressing the button on reset, part of it is making sure we have time to spend with this community and with, because you are family. As you can tell, this is just much therapy for us as it is. A chance to have a conversation.
And I know if you all have been listening to us for a while, you have to know that the topics we're talking about are these things that we're dealing with personally. This our conversation comes up because it's like, man, I just did this, or I just saw that. And then it also comes from you all telling us things that you're concerned with, you have questions about. So with that being said, please drop us a note.
Drop us a note. Share, like
and
subscribe, and share. Share the concepts and with other people in your community, because again, we're all working through the same things, and this is the only way that we can really support the people around us. Go to our website. We've still got resources and previous videos there. When you see us out on the street, say hi. We're real people. We out there, and it's so good to meet some of the people that have been listening to our podcast. And with that, we're going to say goodbye. Reset, people.
Reset, y'all. Thank you.
Bye, y'all. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this episode and you'd like to help support the Solo CEOs, please share this podcast with others, post about it on social media, or leave a rating and review. To catch all the latest, you can follow us on LinkedIn or Instagram at the Solo CEOs, or stop by our website for videos, resources, and other great stuff. Thanks again, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye.